Today in the Audio Hotline Studio, we have an awesomely versatile microphone, the Audio-Technica AT2005 USB. As I'm sure you guessed according to the name, it is a USB microphone, but it's also an XLR microphone at the same time. We'll talk about some other details here in a second, but first, let's get mic'd. Welcome all audio nerds to the Audio Mother-Freaking Hotline. Yeah, that's right. I said freaking. I'm Mormon now, I guess. As I said before, we have the Audio-Technica AT2005 USB microphone in the studio. We'll talk about some basics. We'll talk about what comes in the package with it. We'll go over some nerdy, specky stuff, and then I'll test it out and give you my opinion on this microphone. Here on the I have tried. You get it? AH Audio Hotline. I'm in a weird mood today. Watch out! Here on the I have tried a few different USB XLR microphones, the ATR2100 and the Samson Q2U. The ATR2100 is also an Audio-Technica microphone. But I liked both the Q2U and ATR2100 because they sounded really good. They were good quality for the price that you got and all the functionality that came with them. So I'm hoping that's the case with the AT2005 USB. That would be lovely. But that is an interesting thing about this microphone is that it's actually only $10 more than the ATR2100. And real quick, speaking of price, you can find this microphone between $79 to $89, and usually the ATR2100 is like $65 to $70, somewhere in there. Considering how close in price this microphone is with the ATR2100 and even the Samson Q2U, I kind of assume that people probably debate which one to get. I am absolutely willing to throw this into a comparison with those other two microphones or one of the other microphones. And if you do want me to do that comparison, go ahead and take this poll up there and we can figure out which microphone is right for you. Right now, I am using this microphone as an XLR mic, and it is going into my Zoom H6 at about 52% gain. Later on, I will absolutely test the USB capability of this microphone. Let's cover some basics. Let's go ahead and talk about what comes in the box. When you purchase the Audio-Technica AT2005 USB, you will get a nice leather carrying case. This package includes all of the cables that you will need. It does have an XLR cable as well as a USB cable. This comes with a desk tripod stand. It's just a little guy. It's kind of cute. It also does come with a mic clip, but it does not come with a microphone stand adapter. This will have some documentation, and of course, it will include the microphone itself, the Audio-Technica AT2005 USB. When I first held this microphone, I was surprised by the build quality because it's good, not bad. I feel like this is built to last a really long time. I feel like it could take a pretty good beating and just keep on chugging. But speaking of the build quality of the microphone itself, I do love the fact that it has an on and off switch. I'm a big fan of that. I love that it has the XLR USB capabilities, but it also has a headphone jack as well as a volume control for that headphone jack. That is awesome. I love that this comes with a leather carrying bag. Those things are invaluable. They help protect your microphone over time, and they're great to have. The XLR cable is just kind of a cheapo one, and the USB cable is fine. Seems good. A little thin, but slender and long. The tripod desk stand exists. I wouldn't recommend a majority of people use it in most cases unless you're just planning on talking into the microphone, not touching anything on the desk or anything like that, but it has one if you like that. Well, we've discussed some basic things about this microphone and what comes in the box with it. Now let's go ahead and nerd the frick out. The Audio-Technica AT2005 USB is a dynamic microphone with a cardioid polar pattern. This has a frequency response of 50 Hz to 15 kHz. This has a max recording bit depth of 16 bit and a sample rate of either 44.1 kHz or 48 kHz. The controls on this microphone are an on and off switch as well as a headphone volume control. This features a 3.5mm TRS stereo headphone jack, and the system requirements will be labeled on the screen. This microphone does have a relatively hyped high end. The biggest peak is probably about 5 kHz with about an 8 decibel boost, Well, now that we've gotten all that nerdy shit out of the way, let's go ahead and start testing this microphone out. As I'm sure you've noticed, I have been using a windscreen. This is actually a windscreen that's designed for the Shure SM87, SM86. The way that this grill is set up, it's kind of similar to those microphones, so I decided to go with that one. I'll leave a link down below if you want to check that out. Let's go ahead and start with a proximity test. If you just swiped right on the AT2005 USB and you want some cuddle time, some Netflix and chill time, here's how it's gonna sound. Maybe your microphone's like, hey, you're not getting that close to me without protection, bruh. And so you go grab your windscreen. Here's how it's gonna sound. Peter Piper pooped in a Panera Panini. 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 All right, now I'm going to do a polar pattern test with some white noise. Here's the front of the mic, the side of the microphone, and the back of the microphone. Now, if you're going to bang the shit out of a keyboard while you're talking into your microphone, here's how it's going to sound if the keyboard's directly behind the microphone while you're going crazy on it. Here is how the handling noise sounds on this microphone. Now, if you want a little distance between you and your microphone, maybe you don't like the look of microphones on the camera screen when you're shooting your YouTube videos, you know, here's what it sounds like about 2 feet away. If you have the intention of buying this microphone so you can start a podcast or doing something where you're going to be using post-processing, here's how it could sound with some EQ, some compression, a de-esser, and maybe something else. I'll label it if that's the case. So now we are doing a USB test, and actually for the rest of the video, I will just be using this as a USB microphone during my review section. So right now, I am recording at 48 kilohertz at 16-bit. The audio you were hearing earlier was actually at 48 kilohertz at 24-bit, so there will be a little bit of a decrease in quality if you are using this as a USB microphone compared to if you have a device that can record at 24-bit. But I'll jump over to my screen. As you can see right now, I am recording into Logic Pro X. I believe that my gain is set at about 55%. And here's how the microphone sounds as a USB microphone, and I'll keep going with this through my review. Just real quick disclaimer, just so you know, if you do not agree with my opinion of this microphone, I just want you to know that you're wrong. I'm just joking. We all have different things that we want from our audio gear, different needs, and we all have different voices. So if you think this microphone's going to work out for you, perfect. But it's time for me to tell you how I feel. Just right out the gate, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to lay it out, you know? I like this mic. I do. I think this microphone has great build quality. I think it sounds really good. And I love all of the features, all the functionality that you get with this microphone. For $80, that's a really good deal. And I know what you're thinking, hey, there's the Q2U, there's the ATR2100, they're cheaper microphones with the same functionality. But all 3 of those microphones definitely have different voicings. They all sound a little bit different, and they're all built a little bit different. And I think that that's what you need to focus on, is which one is right for you when it comes to your voice. It's just interesting to me. You'd think a microphone that has this many features that's $80, you'd think it would kind of sound like shit. Honestly, like you'd be like, well, they're gotta sacrifice something. It has all this functionality, but it honestly does sound really good. But don't get me wrong, there are a couple cons when it comes to this microphone and this purchase overall. I do think that the cables are pretty cheaply made. I wouldn't count on them lasting like forever or even a super long time. I think it's nice to have a backup cable that's a little bit better, and if this one goes out, then you can switch over to that one. The threading on the bottom of this mic clip is absolute garbage. Maybe I just got a bad one though. I don't know. I really wish that this could be 24-bit at 48 kilohertz. It would make my life a million times easier wanting to use this microphone, because that's what I record everything at, is 24-bit at 48 kilohertz. Another con is that I do feel like this microphone does pick up quite a bit of air. Like, it's not terrible, but I think it's just something to be aware of, and I do think you should be prepared with a windscreen and maybe even, working on technique or angling the microphone so your air can go right past instead of going directly in. But other than those few cons, which some were pretty nitpicky, I really like this microphone. I think it sounds good on the guitar, I think it sounds good on the voice, and I think it would be a great beginner podcast microphone since it has that dual functionality where if you're in your studio or your home studio, you can use your interface and you can get a higher bit recording. And if you're traveling and you need to get a podcast recorded, it still is very passable audio. It still sounds really good, and you can use your USB connection straight into your computer. I think it's invaluable. So the grade that I give the Audio-Technica AT2005USB is an A-. So I absolutely recommend this microphone. I think it is a fantastic mic for the price and for all the functions that come with it. It's just awesome microphone to have in your mic locker. Part of me does feel like I may have given this a better grade had I not tried out the Q2U and ATR2100, knowing that they're completely passable, very functional microphones for a lower price. But don't get me wrong, I think this is absolutely worth it, and if you prefer the sound of this, get it. And it's got a real pretty LED light. Thank you for watching this review of the Audio-Technica AT2005 USB microphone. I hope that it helped you out, that you found it informative, but most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot of other videos and other reviews, and thank you to all of my subscribers. You are the best. And once again, thank you for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.